Welcome back to the Great Man Podcast. My name is Maxim Benjamin Smith, and today we're going to be talking about John Howland. John Howland was born in Huntingdonshire, England, somewhere between 1592 and 1599. We're not exactly sure about the dates. And since we're not sure about the date of his birth or his death, we're not sure about what happened in his early life either. So we're going to jump forward about 20 years to 1620. When John was in his early 20s, he signed the Mayflower Compact, which is something that all adult males had to sign before they boarded the Mayflower. Two of the men that signed the Mayflower Compact were actually indentured servants, and John Howland was one of those indentured servants. Now, originally there were supposed to be actually two ships. There was the Speedwell and the Mayflower, but the Speedwell was deemed unseaworthy, so most of the people that were supposed to be on the Speedwell then were transferred to the Mayflower for the journey. Now, if you know anything about John Howland, you probably know this one story where he almost fell off the Mayflower in a storm and died. In fact, there's a quote from William Bradford in his book of Plymouth Plantation about John Howland's near-death experience. He said, "It pleased God that John Howland had caught hold of the topsail halyards, which hung overboard and ran out at length. He held his hold till he was hauled up by the same rope to the brim of the water, and then, with a boat hook and other means to get into the ship again, and his life was saved. And though he was something ill with it, yet he lived many years after and became a profitable member both in church and commonwealth." When John Howland was coming over to the New World as an indentured servant, he was a manservant to John Carver and his wife. And so when they landed in the Plymouth colony, John still continued to live with them. There was one really big problem, though. The colonists had landed way too far north, and that winter was terrible. Many people died that first winter. Thankfully, they all lived, the Carvers and John. However, the Carvers would die the next spring, and John apparently inherited the house after their death. A couple years later, John Howland would marry Elizabeth Tilley in 1623, and they had a total of 10 children. Their names were Desire, John, Isaac, Ruth, Elizabeth, Hope, Lydia, Hannah, Joseph, and Jabez. And I believe 2 of their children were already born before they were married. John also served as a Plymouth colony assistant and deputy for Plymouth to the General Court. He was also in charge of the fur trading post at Kennebec, and he was on the Fur Trade Committee, so everybody knew him around there. John Howland would then die in Plymouth, Massachusetts on February 23rd, 1672 or 1673, we're not exactly sure. And Elizabeth would die in Swansea, Massachusetts on December 21st, 1687 or 1688. Now, you really got to put yourself in the position of John Howland and think about what this journey would be like. To me, there's 2 major times in America, where there were times like this, where there were people in mass that would take a massive risk, not knowing where they were going, what was there, but they still chose to take the risk and hope that there would be something better. In my mind, these 2 major times would be from Plymouth colony up until the founding of America, and then again in America from about 1800 to 1855 with westward expansion. You have to put yourself in that position because that's a big risk to take. One, there's many different ways they could have died at sea. They could have died the first winter, and they didn't even know if there was anything worthwhile in America or in the New World. And then, like I said, we can relate this back to westward expansion, where there's a million ways you could die on the way there. Let's say you're going from Virginia all the way over to Utah. You're expanding that far out west. Well, you could die from the natives. You could die from snake bite, spider bite. There's tons of different ways you could die. You could die from starvation, from a disease. You could get trampled by horses or cattle or something like that. Tons of different ways you could die. But these men and women still said, things might be rough, but we're going to take the time, we're going to take the risk, we're going to head out there in hopes for a better life and a better future, and we're really going to try to build something new. And I think that's a very honorable thing. That's something that great men would do. I also decided to look up some of the famous descendants of John Howland, and one of them was known as having the quickest draw in the West, a man very capable with a gun, Alec Baldwin. Unfortunately, there's also some other descendants like George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, Jeb Bush, as well as Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So not all of your descendants are going to be as great as you are. And that's the natural order of things. You have good and bad, you have corrupt and evil, you have respectable and honorable. That's just how it goes. But two of his very notable descendants are Jane Austen and Ralph Waldo Emerson. So what makes John Howland a great man? Well, he had the courage to travel to an unknown land. He survived 2 different times where he definitely could have died. And he decided to build something new in a new land, which he did not know. But he still tried to do the right thing. And I think that's one of the best stories you can have, is going to a place you have no idea what's there. You don't know what's going to happen. But still, you try to go there for a specific reason. And you try to build something new out of nothing. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any recommendations for great men that you would like to see in a video, then please put them down in the comment section below the video. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.